Phoebe slammed the door shut, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest, as her mother's voice echoed from the living room. "I saw you, Phoebe. With that girl in the park." The words hit like a thunderbolt, freezing Phoebe in place, her mind racing back to that stolen moment with Rosalie, their lips brushing under the oak tree, a secret she thought was safe. But now the shock twisted into something unimaginable. Her conservative mother, instead of exploding in rage, was smiling through tears, declaring, "If that's who you are, then I'll find you the perfect wife myself." Phoebe's world spun. She had always hidden her truth, burying it deep under layers of pretense, dating boys in high school to please her family, attending church every Sunday where sermons railed against unnatural love. Her mother, Elena, was the pillar of their small suburban Chicago community, a widow who clung to traditions like lifelines after Dad's death 10 years ago. Elena had raised Phoebe alone, pouring her dreams into her daughter's future. A stable job, a husband, grandkids. But Phoebe's desires had always pulled her elsewhere, toward women who understood the quiet storms inside her. Rosalie was the first to crack through that facade. A chance meeting at an art gallery where their eyes locked over a painting of turbulent seas. That night, as Phoebe paced her bedroom, her thoughts churned. How could Mom know? And why this reaction? Elena had burst into the kitchen earlier, not with anger, but with a folder clutched in her hands, profiles from some online matchmaking site for like-minded women. "I've been researching," Elena said, her voice trembling but resolute. "If you're going to live this way, it has to be right. No sneaking around. A proper commitment." Phoebe's stomach knotted. Commitment? She and Rosalie had only been seeing each other for 3 months, whispers and hidden dates, nothing official. But now, her mother was steamrolling ahead, insisting on meeting Rosalie, planning a family introduction dinner. The next day, Phoebe met Rosalie at their usual spot, a quiet coffee shop on the edge of the city. Rosalie's eyes, soft and hazel, lit up when she saw Phoebe, but dimmed at the tension etched on her face. "What's wrong?" Rosalie asked, her hand reaching across the table. Phoebe hesitated, the words sticking in her throat. "How do you tell someone your mother is essentially arranging your marriage?" "My mom. She knows about us," Phoebe finally whispered. Rosalie's face paled, her fingers tightening. She came from a broken home. Her own parents divorced after years of fighting over her phase in college. "Does she hate me?" Rosalie asked, voice small. Phoebe shook her head, but the truth poured out in a rush. The folder, the profiles, Elena's bizarre acceptance laced with control. Rosalie's laughter started as a nervous giggle, then turned bitter. "So she's playing matchmaker? For us." But beneath the humor, fear flickered. Rosalie had her own battles. A job as a graphic designer that barely paid the bills, dreams of art school dashed by family expectations. She had confided in Phoebe about her past, a toxic relationship with a woman who cheated, leaving her wary of commitments. "I adore you," Rosalie had said once, "but I'm not ready for forever." Now forever was being thrust upon them. As days blurred into a week, Elena's insistence grew. She invited Rosalie over without Phoebe's consent, turning the dinner into an interrogation masked as hospitality. "Tell me about your family," Elena probed, her smile too tight. Rosalie, dressed in her best blouse, stammered through answers, her eyes darting to Phoebe for rescue. Inside, Phoebe seethed. This wasn't acceptance. It was Elena rewriting Phoebe's life to fit her narrative, erasing the shame of a wayward daughter by forcing a facade of normalcy. But what choice did Phoebe have? Rejecting her mother meant losing the only family she had left, the woman who sacrificed everything for her. Rosalie's texts that night were frantic. "Your mom scares me. She kept talking about weddings like it's decided." Phoebe stared at her phone, guilt gnawing. She adored Rosalie. The way she cried at sad movies, her vulnerability a mirror to Phoebe's own hidden pains. But this pressure was cracking them. Phoebe's mind raced with doubts. Was she strong enough to defy Elena? Or would she bend, trading her freedom for fragile peace? The conflict tore at her, each decision a potential betrayal. The turning point came at a family gathering, where Elena announced to aunts and uncles, "Phoebe's found someone special. A woman named Rosalie. We're so happy for her." Gasps rippled through the room, judgmental eyes boring into Phoebe. She felt exposed, raw, her secret weaponized. Rosalie, not invited, called later in tears. Your family knows? Without telling me. The accusation stung, but Phoebe's defense crumbled under the weight of her inaction. She had let Elena take the reins, sacrificing Rosalie's trust for her mother's approval. As the evening faded, Phoebe sat alone, wrestling with the fallout. Her love for Rosalie was real, but tainted now by coercion. Elena's help was a cage, gilded with good intentions but locking away Phoebe's autonomy. The price of silence was mounting. Rosalie's growing distance, the societal whispers that followed. Phoebe wondered if she could reclaim her story, or if the damage was irreversible. Phoebe's resolve hardened in the following weeks, but cracks appeared faster than she could mend them. Elena's matchmaking escalated. She set up dates for Phoebe and Rosalie, chaperoned outings to museums and parks, as if supervising children. This is how you build a life, Elena insisted, her voice laced with unspoken fears of judgment from the church, whispers in the neighborhood. Phoebe saw it now. Her mother's acceptance was conditional, a desperate bid to normalize what she viewed as a flaw. Inside, Phoebe battled waves of resentment. Why couldn't Elena just let her be? But defying her meant unraveling the fragile bond they shared. The memories of Dad's grave where they grieved together. Rosalie, meanwhile, withdrew into her shell. Their stolen moments turned tense, arguments bubbling up like steam. I feel like a prop in your family's play, Rosalie confessed one night, tears streaming as they sat on her apartment couch. Phoebe reached for her, but Rosalie pulled away. You let her control this. What about what I want? The words pierced Phoebe's heart. She adored Rosalie's sensitivity, the way her emotions flowed freely, but now those tears felt like accusations. Rosalie's past haunted her. A college girlfriend who abandoned her after coming out to unsupportive parents, leaving scars of abandonment. I can't be forced into this, Rosalie whispered, her voice breaking. Phoebe's inner turmoil raged. She paced her room late at night, questioning every choice. Had she been too passive, letting Elena dictate to avoid conflict? Or was compromising for family the right path? Society's weight pressed down. Friends who distanced themselves after the announcement, colleagues' sidelong glances at work. As a marketing executive in a conservative firm, Phoebe feared professional repercussions, her promotion hanging in the balance. Be discreet, her boss had hinted once, words echoing now like warnings. The betrayal came subtly at first. Elena, sensing Rosalie's hesitation, began subtly undermining her. She's lovely but so emotional, Elena remarked over breakfast, her tone dripping concern. Maybe someone more stable? Phoebe's anger flared. You picked her. But Elena's response chilled her. I picked for you. To make this work. It dawned on Phoebe then, Elena had scoured profiles, choosing Rosalie not for compatibility, but for pliability, a woman who might bend to the family's will. Confrontation brewed at a tense lunch where Elena invited them both. Rosalie arrived late, eyes red from crying, and Elena's patience snapped. If you're not committed, perhaps it's best to end this now, Elena said sharply. Rosalie's face crumpled, and she fled the restaurant, leaving Phoebe torn between chasing her and facing her mother. See? Too fragile, Elena sighed. Phoebe's fury erupted. You're pushing her away. But inside doubt crept in. Was Rosalie too vulnerable for this storm? Or was Phoebe the weak one, unable to stand firm? That night Rosalie called, her voice steady for the first time. I need space, Phoebe. This isn't us. It's your mom's version. The words hung like a guillotine. Phoebe begged. I adore you. We can fix this. But Rosalie's silence spoke volumes. In the quiet aftermath, Phoebe confronted her reflection. She had betrayed Rosalie by inaction, prioritizing family harmony over their love. The cost was evident. Rosalie's trust eroded, their connection fraying. Weeks turned to months and the pressure mounted. Elena arranged a commitment ceremony, planning session with a progressive pastor, ignoring Phoebe's protests. This will show the world we're okay, Elena urged. But Phoebe's mind screamed otherwise. Society's defined lens viewed them as anomalies, neighbors who crossed the street, relatives who sent praying for you, cards laced with pity. The moral quandary gnawed. Was forcing acceptance through conformity ethical? Or was it a betrayal of self? A pivotal moment arrived when Rosalie reappeared, knocking on Phoebe's door unannounced. "I miss you," she admitted, tears glistening. They talked for hours, unraveling the mess. Rosalie shared her fears. "I cry because I feel everything deeply. But your mom makes me feel broken." Phoebe's heart ached. She realized her love demanded action, protecting Rosalie from Elena's grip, even if it meant fracturing family ties. Yet, as they embraced, Phoebe's resolve wavered. The thought of losing her mother, the only constant in her life, terrified her. What price was she willing to pay? The internal conflict peaked, decisions looming like shadows. The rift deepened as Phoebe navigated the minefield of loyalties. She began secretly meeting Rosalie again, away from Elena's watchful eyes, in hidden cafes and late-night walks along Lake Michigan. Each encounter was a balm and a burden. Rosalie's touch reignited the spark, but the secrecy echoed Phoebe's past deceptions. "We're back to hiding," Rosalie murmured one evening, her head on Phoebe's shoulder. "Is this what you want?" Phoebe's throat tightened. No, she wanted freedom, but the societal chains held firm. Coming out fully meant facing backlash, potential job loss, community ostracism. Elena's world was Phoebe's too, intertwined in ways that made escape feel like amputation. Elena's suspicions grew, leading to heated arguments. "You're seeing her behind my back?" Elena accused, her face etched with betrayal. Phoebe stood her ground for the first time. "This is my life, Mom. Not yours to orchestrate." Elena's tears fell. A weapon Phoebe hadn't anticipated. "I'm protecting you from the world that will hurt you," Elena sobbed. The words struck deep, stirring Phoebe's guilt. Elena had endured her own pains, losing her husband young, raising a daughter in a judgmental society. Was Phoebe's rebellion a selfish strike against her mother's sacrifices? The moral dilemmas piled up. Phoebe grappled with right and wrong, honoring family versus honoring self. Society's double standards amplified the noise. Straight couples faced no such scrutiny, but their love was dissected, labeled alternative. At work, a colleague's offhand comment, "Heard about your situation. Brave, I guess," left Phoebe seething, her promotion delayed under vague excuses. Rosalie's own conflict surfaced during a vulnerable confession. "My ex left because I couldn't commit fast enough," she revealed, tears flowing. "But with you I want to try, if it's on our terms." Phoebe adored that fragility, seeing strength in Rosalie's emotions. Yet, it made her protective, fueling her determination to shield them from Elena's interference. The confrontation escalated at a family holiday dinner. Elena, cornered by Phoebe's defiance, dropped a bombshell. "I've spoken to Rosalie's parents. They agree. A quick wedding could stabilize things." Rosalie, upon hearing, exploded in rage. "You contacted my family? Without me?" The betrayal cut deep. Rosalie's estranged parents, conservative and distant, now meddled, echoing Elena's control. "This is insane," Rosalie cried, storming out. Phoebe chased her, but the damage was done. Trust shattered anew. In the solitude that followed, Phoebe's inner monologue raged. She had enabled this by not stopping Elena sooner, trading peace for avoidance. The price? Rosalie's pain, her own eroded self-worth. Society's pressures loomed. Friends who supported but distanced. Media portrayals that romanticized struggle without showing scars. A turning point came when Phoebe attended a support group for LGBTQ+ individuals, anonymously at first. Hearing stories of rejection and resilience, she saw her path clearer. "You can't live for others' approval," one woman shared. Inspired, Phoebe confronted Elena. "Your help is hurting us. If you can't accept me as I am without strings, then maybe we need space." Elena's face crumpled, but for the first time she listened, admitting her fears stemmed from love twisted by societal norms. Rosalie, after days of silence, returned with a proposition. "Let's move in together away from this chaos." The idea thrilled and terrified Phoebe. It meant defying Elena fully, potentially losing her mother's support. The decision weighed heavy. Was love worth the isolation? As tensions simmered, a subtle shift occurred. Elena, reflecting on Phoebe's words, reached out to Rosalie directly, apologizing. "I was wrong to push," she admitted tearfully. But Rosalie, scarred, remained wary. "Actions speak louder," she replied. Phoebe stood at the crossroads, her choices defining her. The drama intensified. each step a gamble with hearts on the line. Awakening dawned slowly for Phoebe, but the path was fraught with thorns. After Elena's apology, a fragile truce formed, but undercurrents of doubt persisted. Phoebe and Rosalie took tentative steps toward independence, renting a small apartment in the city, away from suburban scrutiny. The move was a declaration. "This is our life," Phoebe told Elena, her voice steady despite the inner quake. Elena nodded, but her eyes held unspoken reservations, a silent judgment that Phoebe felt like a shadow. Living together amplified their bond and conflicts. Rosalie's tears came more frequently, triggered by small things, a harsh email from work, a memory of past hurts. "I adore how you feel everything," Phoebe whispered during one episode, holding her close. But inwardly she worried. Was this sustainable amid external pressures? Society's gaze followed them. Stares in stores, whispered comments that chipped at their armor. Phoebe's job suffered. Her boss cited distractions, demoting her subtly, a moral punishment disguised as policy. The real test came with a family crisis. Elena fell ill, a minor heart scare, pulling Phoebe back into the fold. "I need you," Elena pleaded from her hospital bed. Rosalie encouraged her to go, but resentment brewed. "She's using this to guilt you." Phoebe's heart tore. Loyalty to mother versus partner. At the hospital, Elena confessed deeper truths. "I grew up in a time where this was sin. I'm trying, but it's hard." Phoebe's empathy surged, but so did frustration. Why must she pay for generational baggage? Betrayal struck from an unexpected angle. A cousin, fueled by family gossip, outed them on social media, posting a rant about ruining traditions. The backlash was swift. Harassing messages lost friendships. Rosalie crumbled under the assault, her vulnerability turning to isolation. "I can't do this," she sobbed one night. Phoebe's fear peaked. Was she losing Rosalie to the world's cruelty? In her solitude, Phoebe questioned everything. Had choosing love meant inviting destruction? The moral ambiguity haunted her. Sacrificing family for self or self for family. Elena's recovery brought reconciliation attempts, but Rosalie resisted. "She's the source of this pain." Phoebe mediated, exhausted by the role, her decisions exacting a toll on her mental health. A climactic showdown unfolded at a neutral coffee shop. Elena, Rosalie, and Phoebe sat across from each other, air thick with tension. "I want what's best," Elena started. Rosalie countered sharply. "Best for you or us?" Words flew, accusations of control, defenses of love. Phoebe intervened. "Enough. This stops now." She laid bare her truths. "I love you both, but I won't be torn apart." The raw honesty cracked walls. Elena admitted her fears of loneliness, Rosalie her insecurities. Healing began tentatively. Elena attended a therapy session with them, learning to release control. Society's scars remained, but Phoebe's resolve strengthened. She fought back at work, filing a discrimination complaint, reclaiming her power. Rosalie, inspired, pursued her art again, her tears turning to creative fuel. Yet doubts lingered. Had the damage been too great? Phoebe pondered the costs, strained relationships, emotional wounds. The journey taught her that love demanded sacrifice, but at what limit? As months passed, the fragile equilibrium held, but storms brewed beneath. Phoebe and Rosalie built their life, small victories amid ongoing battles. Weekend picnics became sanctuaries, where Rosalie's laughter drowned out the noise. "I adore your strength," Rosalie said, her eyes shining without tears for once. Phoebe smiled, but inside vigilance reigned. Society's acceptance was superficial, prejudices lurking in policies and stares. Elena's transformation was gradual, attending pride events reluctantly, her presence a olive branch. But old habits died hard. Subtle comments slipped like maybe tone it down in public. Phoebe's patience frayed, leading to a final ultimatum. Full acceptance or nothing. Elena chose growth, therapy sessions revealing her own suppressed dreams, sacrifice for societal norms. The revelation humanized her, bridging gaps. Yet, the ultimate test arrived with an external threat. Rosalie's ex resurfaced, offering apologies and temptations of a simpler life, straight passing, free from scrutiny. "Think about it," the ex whispered in a chance encounter. Rosalie confided in Phoebe, tears flowing. "I'm tempted, not for her but for ease." The confession shattered Phoebe. Betrayal loomed. Would Rosalie trade their love for comfort? Phoebe's inner storm raged. She confronted her fears. If you leave, it's because I failed to protect us. But Rosalie chose them, rejecting the ex. You're worth the fight. The decision cemented their bond, but at a cost. Rosalie's lingering doubts, Phoebe's heightened anxiety. Family dynamics shifted when Elena hosted a genuine gathering, inviting Rosalie's mended parents. Tensions simmered, but honest dialogues emerged. We were wrong, Elena admitted publicly. The moment was cathartic, tears shared not in pain but release. Society's broader conflicts persisted. Legislative threats to rights, community divisions. Phoebe became an advocate, speaking at local events, her voice trembling but firm. The exposure brought empowerment and exhaustion, questioning if the personal toll was justified. In quiet reflections, Phoebe weighed the journey's prices. Lost innocence, scarred hearts, but gained authenticity. Rosalie, stronger now, echoed. We paid dearly, but we're free. The story culminated in a private vow exchange. Not a wedding, but a promise on their terms. Elena watched, tears of pride, society be damned. Yet, as peace settled, one question lingered. Was forcing change through pain the only path to true acceptance, or could love have prevailed without the sacrifices?